Welcome to another episode of Sober Not Sane. Sane? That's
Sane, yeah. That's
Sane. I still got the two things not working so good. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Sober Not Sane. Subscribe, like, watch. Make your cat watch it on YouTube. Listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can find me on the internet. Before we start, thank you to Liz from the camera store. She helps out with all the equipment that we're able to use so that we look as good as we possibly can. That's what we're shooting for. This week, Stephen Gollan, who is from the Spice Merchant. Or are you the Spice Merchant?
Well, it's debatable, right? They used to call me the Spice Guy, but we'll stick with the Spice Merchant for now.
Sounds a little classier.
A little classier.
That dude with the salt.
Yeah.
That would be a...
It's got spice, bro.
Yeah. You gotta... Yeah, what kind of spice do you have?
Yeah. Well, I used to sell in BC, and there was a lot of, hey, man, you got the Hindu Kush spice.
You know, that would be a perfect cover.
It was, yeah. I had a boss one time ask me, why should I be concerned that the people in this town are calling you the Spice Guy?
No.
Why would you?
So what, as opposed to just bantering back and forth, you're my neighbor at Crossroads Market.
Sure am. What a pleasure. You know.
I must be a treat to be next door too. And
yeah, sometimes.
Words of wisdom.
Lots of
or
wisdom.
Vulgarities coming across.
It gets vulgar, borderline inappropriate, but you know.
Oh, well. Yeah. Anyway, you know what I would say? I'm sorry if I cared.
Yeah.
You were gone for 2 months.
I sure was, yeah.
And, man, where did you go? You went like everywhere.
Yeah, no, we flew to Amsterdam, Netherlands, because it was a little bit cheaper to fly there right now just because of all the COVID things. And from there, we flew to Greece. I spent 16 days in Greece before I went to Georgia, up in the Caucasus Mountains. Went across Georgia, and then eventually we went to Lebanon because we were actually rejected from Armenia.
Why were you rejected?
Yeah, so the day we arrived, 3 days before that, without us knowing, Armenia changed their visa policy, and we ended up not getting allowed into the country.
Not even a COVID issue.
Yeah, not even a COVID issue. More whatever issue they have with Azerbaijan, I think.
So if you're lost, if you're watching this in Armenia.
Yeah, I'll make it there one day. Don't worry, Armenia. I'm coming.
You'll just read up on the policy. And from there?
Yeah, from there we went to Lebanon. And then Lebanon, we eventually made it to Iraq. And that was Iraq, we did almost 3 weeks. So...
Really? And you've been there before?
I was in northern Iraq, in Kurdistan. So it's not technically Iraq because it's like its own autonomous region. You don't need an Iraqi visa to go there. It's its own place now. And there is a border that separates them. So
really?
Yeah. No, this was my first time in proper Iraq, up to Baghdad and Mosul and that area. So
okay. So now you're also a travel blogger.
Yeah.
So we should. Where do they see that?
Yeah, so my travel blog's called Uncharted Backpacker. You can see it at unchartedbackpacker.com. It's same on Facebook, Instagram. It's all Uncharted Backpacker. Or if you Google my name, you'll find me there too.
So did you start travel blogging first?
No, I was a backpacker, true at heart. I moved to Thailand when I was 17 and just loved traveling and fell in love with it. And I didn't actually start the blog until I was about 24. And I had no intentions in being a travel blogger. It was just so, Mom could keep up with me.
Yeah. And then now I'm assuming it supports you.
In a lot of ways, yeah. It's for the past, I'd say 4 years. It's essentially not paid, but companies have brought me on and sponsored me to probably over 60 countries just with the travel blog alone. So, wow. And of course I am paid through it a lot, through with my photography, and I do a lot of travel writing for different companies. So, yeah, in a way it supported me now.
And how much, you told me this, but I want everyone to know, how much spice did you bring home?
Yeah, this trip I brought back 104 kilograms now. It was 70 some, but I just brought in another 30, whatever. And so it's
shipped in after.
Yeah, shipped in after. It's an afterthought. I need more.
So when you go there, what do you go and try the food and then go, okay, how did you make that?
Well, I do a lot of research beforehand, and lots of times, like lucky we live in Calgary. There's, if you want to go to a Georgian restaurant, I'm sure you can find it here. And so I'll go try the food here, and I'll talk to them saying, what should I try? Because the locals know the best, right? And then while I'm in the country, honestly, I search out people's grandmothers because, they cook the best food.
Always.
And they'll always teach me different recipes and tell me what to try because even just at restaurants alone, you're not always going to find the food you want to eat. It's been altered.
And I wonder, when you go to a restaurant here, okay,
Yeah.
let's say you go to from Georgia, you go to a
Right.
restaurant. Are they dumbing down the food a bit for
Yeah,
Canada? Are they trying to meet the palate here, or?
I think it depends on the cuisine. So, like, I find with a lot of Asian cuisine, they do. So, for example, Thai food. You cannot get authentic Thai food in Calgary. For the most part, it's not spicy enough. And the flavors, like, they use a lot of shrimp paste. And you're not
Correct.
going to find that in a lot of the food here because Canadians, they don't like it. So, Thai food's difficult. But if you went more, say, African cuisine or Middle Eastern cuisine, I've had a lot of really authentic, like Ethiopian, for example. I've had really authentic Ethiopian food here in Calgary. So,
I actually took a friend to an Ethiopian restaurant once because he was a germaphobe.
okay.
And I knew they were going to bring bread and
Everything
piles
on the
of
same
food.
plate. Yeah.
And I just reached in and he just said, "Could I have a fork?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "There's no forks
you're
here,
eating
man.
with your hands,
That
man."
bread, tear that bread, that's your fork."
Yeah, that's why they bring extra.
See, and I always think that it's cool to go to those restaurants and learn about the culture.
Yeah, of course. Well, food is the culture, right? Food brings us together.
And what if you said, "Okay, I'm going to go out for my favorite meal in Calgary," where would you go?
Oh, man. You're asking a difficult question right there.
Okay, top 5 different genres.
I really like Japanese. So
Yeah.
in Calgary, we have some phenomenal Japanese restaurants. Thai, I like Thai. Like I'm kind of counteracting that. I just said you can't get authentic Thai food. You can get close. You can get some pretty decent
Right.
Thai food here. Indian, Ethiopian, like I said. And then above all, I love Middle Eastern food. Hence why I went on this trip back to the Middle East.
Right. So what would be? I don't know that much about Middle Eastern food. What describe a standard?
Well, like kebab is king. Meat
Yeah.
on a stick. They call it meat on the stick countries for a reason.
But okay, do they make every kind of protein on a stick?
Essentially, yeah, as long as it's halal, right? But
Yeah.
you always get dishes with it. They have different kinds of sauces. They're really into salad, especially in Syria and Iraq, that area. They do tabbouleh or bulgur. There's all kinds of salad you can have with the meat. But they also use quite a bit of spices, which I like. Obviously, I'm the spice guy, right? So
Yeah. I went. You know what? I was on a cruise ship and we landed in India, and I went to the spice market.
yeah,
And I will admit that I loaded an extra. I brought a bag for that part of the trip.
yeah, it's the best spices, right?
Yeah, and I just kept going. Come on, you can do better than that.
Yeah.
And everybody was into it. They were making fun of me,
Yeah.
but I didn't really know. I had to trust them
Yeah.
to tell me what I should be
What
buying.
you should be getting, yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's the best you could do, right? Because if you ask them, they're going to tell you honestly.
Well, it came back a little hot.
Yeah,
Little-
it always does, yeah.
And they're very little. Use very little.
Yeah, they're probably scared that you're going to get hurt.
Well, I can't sue them. I'm in Canada.
Exactly.
I don't know who I could sue over that one.
No.
But out of, I mean, because you've been basically, I've been a lot of places, but
Yeah.
I'm always really impressed by how many places that you've been. Do you have a favorite place?
Well, yeah, I honestly hate this question. People all the time, oh, how many countries you've been to? I tell them, and they say, what's your favorite? And it depends. Like, it depends what mood I am in, right? Like,
Right.
I love so many different parts of the world, but what I love most is I love that feeling of being absolutely culture shocked to the point where I have no idea what the hell's going on. And
Really?
I can find that in places that aren't, visited often. So, for example, I love Thailand. I never talk bad about Thailand, but Thailand, I can't find that anymore. It's because I know that country. I've been to that country. It's quite westernized now.
Right.
It's still exciting to visit, right? But when I go to a country like Afghanistan or Iraq, yeah, it's mind blowing because they're not used to tourists. I have no formalities there. I can't do proper research while I'm there because nobody's traveling there. So
Right.
I'm really addicted to that feeling of being really off the beaten track and yeah.
And when you go and you get off the beaten track,
Yeah.
is it easy to find someone that you can communicate with?
I always try to find, because language is an issue, right?
Right.
In a lot of countries, language will be a problem. And for example, in the Middle East, in a lot of countries, like for example, we were in Yemen a couple of years ago. In Yemen, there's almost no English. So what I try to do is I try to find someone who can speak English beforehand. And in a lot of these countries, like for example, Yemen, they used to do they had tourism before the wars and before all this has happened. So they do have people that can speak English who used to be tour guides. So I can get in contact with them and say, hey, would you like to, let's see what's going on in your country now. Let's see what we can show the world about your country. So that's what I try to do, is a little bit of finding people beforehand. Or lots of times, for example, in Iraq, we had friends here in Calgary who have family there. And they set us up with their family who then showed us around. And that's easier.
Okay, did you get to eat at their house?
Of course, we stayed at their house too. Yeah.
Oh wow, how was it?
It was amazing. Yeah. My favorite memory is our friend Ali. He brings us to his mom's house, and his mom was so excited that we were there, and she had laid out all this food for us, but we had arrived really late. Like it was like midnight. And she kept trying to feed me and give me this and give me that.
At midnight.
Yeah, it was like nonstop. And then finally Ali whispered to me, he said, just say you want to go to bed or else this won't end. So
she'll feed you as long as you sit there.
As long, as a Canadian, you can't say no. We're so polite. We're like, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you.
I'm gonna give you another question. You'll just hate. What's the oddest thing you've ever eaten?
Oh, the oddest? I ate, in the Amazon, I ate a giant Amazonian grub, and that was weird. It was super weird because it like pops in your mouth and it kind of tastes.
Yeah, they kind of barbecue or just throw them in the fire.
They do eat them raw too because you get more protein when they're raw. Because I don't know if this is true, but they were saying that it has as much protein as like 2 eggs or something. So you eat
one good grub,
right? And then you get protein for the day. It'll be the next craze here, I'm sure. I'll bring grubs from the Amazon, and all the gym people will start eating them.
I would think it would be great to take your classically French-trained chef there, and the food is so basic in so many of those countries. Yeah. That they'd be, well, if you put a sauce on that.
Well, that's just it. They would just whip it into a sauce, and then nobody would know.
Right. I had that feeling a lot.
Yeah.
That you don't want to know. We used to go to Mexico every year, and there was this one place that you buy tacos. Yeah. And like taco guy's gone. Where's the taco guy? No more.
No more.
Why not? Dogs.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. Well, I've eaten horse for sure. In Europe, but that was a new one.
Yeah.
Killer tacos, though. I mean,
nobody said dog tastes terrible. Right?
If you don't know, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I talked to my daughter's boyfriend came with us one time to Costa Rica. And he said, "What is this special?" I said, "Oh, it's beef." Yeah. And it was tongue and lingua. And he's like, man, that was delicious. Yeah, it was tongue. I want to throw up. No, you loved it.
Yeah, you said you liked it, so it must be good.
And it was beef.
Yeah, it's a part of the cow.
Yes.
It's still beef.
It's a better part of the cow than most hot dogs.
Exactly, yeah.
I always wonder what people eat for breakfast in other countries.
Yeah, I find it's remarkably similar in a lot of countries. Yeah. Breakfast is always like other than like this, the typical like fruit and a little bit of protein, eggs. It's always eggs too. Yeah, in some way or shape. So I always find
eggs late in the morning, fresh, ready to go.
Yeah, exactly right.
I'm going with that.
Yeah, eggs.
When we were in Italy, we most of the places that we stayed had breakfast included. Yeah. And you would go, they would have this spread of beautiful cheeses and croissants and hams and there would be, and I'm an American by birth, but I apologize. But all of the Americans were like, I just want an omelet. Yeah. Like you have literally the best meal.
Beautiful spread.
Yeah, and you want an omelet.
Yeah.
Why do you think? I don't know why Americans are so blocked from eating from
just
other places.
Comfort, right? They want that same comfort every time, I guess.
Just not adventurous.
No.
Not in food.
But when I was in Georgia...
Military, very adventurous.
I suppose. But when I was in Georgia this trip, they had for breakfast a thing called khachapuri. And it was like a big piece of bread loaded with 3 kinds of cheese, but like village cheese. So it had a bit of funk. And then they bake it. And it was like one of the best breakfasts I've ever had. And sometimes they put this like little Venetian, it's called Svenetti salt on it. And it gives it like a bit of like a herbal flavor. It was really
Just
amazing.
adds that.
Yeah, but it was just straight cheese in the morning.
But simple.
Yeah, it was simple. And like, you're not going to shit for weeks. So
yeah. And you're traveling. So sometimes that's a bonus.
exactly. Yeah.
Oftentimes.
Yeah.
So you were gone 2 months, month and a half?
Yeah, a little bit over 2 months.
A little over 2 months. And, man, you took your girlfriend.
Of course, yeah. Chelsea tagged along.
Tagged along. You took her with you. We traveled together.
Yes, no, we definitely did.
And we need to mention her. She's very nice.
Yeah.
She does not seem to me that she would be as adventurous about food as you.
That's where you're wrong. She's
Really?
just as adventurous. I actually, on our Instagram or on her Instagram page, she has a video of her eating that giant Amazonian worm I told you about. And yeah, she didn't hesitate. There's only one time we were, again, in the Amazon, and this guy brought out this, I don't know, like weird alcoholic drink, and I have no idea what it was. But it had these giant Amazonian ants in it. And when I say giant, like the size of your thumb, they were massive. But when you pick them out, you're supposed to eat them because just like in Mexico, the tequila worm or whatever, they have an alcohol concentrate in them or something like this. They could have been just screwing with us. I don't know. We ate the ants. Well, I ate the ants. And Chelsea, she is really adventurous. She ate that giant worm, no problem. But then I pulled out the ant and I squeezed its ass a little bit and it squirted. And that was it. She couldn't eat the ant. I don't know. She could
Something
not eat
about
this. Yeah. So that was the end of that. That was about the only time Chelsea actually said, no, I'm not going to eat that.
But she drank the...
Of course, yeah. She had no issue drinking it. Just something about that ant squirting.
Was it like the worm? You get one ant per...
No, there was quite a few ants in there. So I ended up eating almost all the ants.
But only in North Americans would never think of insects as protein.
Yeah, no, and in most of the world they are. Like go across Africa, South America, they eat bugs, and most of the time they taste like, for example, grasshoppers. They eat them like potato chips. They actually kind of taste like potato chips because they fry them in oil, and so.
Yeah, I believe I said no, thank you to the grasshoppers or crickets or whatever it was you were trying to...
Yeah, I was selling the Oaxacan crickets. They're using salsa. And they're really good. One day you're going to try it. I'm going to bring you the salsa.
Someday I'll have a hankering for that.
For crickets, yeah.
It'll be maybe, you know what would make this better? Crickets.
That could be in your tomato sauce.
Italian crickets.
Yeah.
I bet you could get them imported.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, although they're very... set in their ways about their food.
They are, yeah. You don't change mama's recipes, that's for sure.
And that, that's what I found in Europe. I could not tell you a bad meal that I had there.
No, it's
where
always
I just
good.
went, that's horrible.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, when I was still drinking in Italy, table wine was better than almost everything you get here.
Yeah, you pay like €2 and it's pretty much unlimited. It's good wine.
Yeah, and the food, like I have a pasta place, but it was just like I learned a lot about cooking when I was there.
Yeah,
and then trying to nail that flavor.
Yeah, it's impossible though.
No, especially if a mom cooks it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. There's something about the land. It does give the food a certain flavor. You can never imitate it. Even when I bring spices here. It's close, but you'll never exactly get that flavor you have.
Is it the time? Do you think the travel time?
It could be, yeah. There's something about it. It's just, when I have food over there, it always tastes better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually saw one of the shows with Giada, and she was cooking in Italy with her aunt.
Oh, okay.
And, I mean, she's from a big family, important family in Italy. And she had brought out dried both bow tie pasta to put
Okay.
in the dish.
Yeah.
And her aunt goes, "What's that?" And she said, "It's the pasta." She goes, "Tourists."
Yeah. I've never seen this.
Yeah, she would like just the look she gave that dish was
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's your TV show.
Most of them in Italy and like small villages I went to, they're still like rolling the pasta by hand.
Yep.
Even the shapes, they wrap them around things, and it's really every single one is wrapped by hand.
And they actually bring it by and
Yeah.
sell it.
Yeah.
Same in Mexico.
Oh
They-
yeah, the fresh tortillas. Wow.
Oh, yeah. My favorite when I was there was pico de gallo with
Yeah.
little bay shrimp in it.
Okay, yeah, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, I ate that for an entire full dinner, which is technically not really dinner, but
No, but it's good enough.
yeah, and chips pretty fresh.
Yeah, yeah. You can get the blue ones there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and you had the flour for that.
Yeah, I imported the blue masa so I could make. I'm gonna be honest. I wanted blue tortillas. I love the taste of them, and I wanted to cook them at home. But I thought, okay, if I bring in enough to sell, then I'm not gonna feel so guilty by paying this money to bring tortillas.
Well, and I've studied food a lot
Yeah.
compared to a lot of other people.
Yeah.
And then I'm talking to Guillermo, our neighbor who sells
Yeah.
coffee there, and we're talking about this dish. And I said, tell me what dish you want
Right.
from home. And I went and found the ingredients. I have never really found the time to make it for him. But one of
Yeah.
the issues I have, I went to look up the potatoes. There's like 300 to 500
Oh, yeah.
types.
That's South America for you. They're obsessed with potatoes.
Every dish has potatoes
Yeah,
in it.
every dish has potatoes, and there's like so many different kinds and colors. I went in a market in Cusco one time, and I asked them how many kinds of potatoes they had. In just that market, they had 180 kinds of potatoes. Just that market.
Now, were they designated to certain dishes?
I think there were more. They came from certain regions, from certain villages, and they used them in specific ways. But those recipes weren't getting out, so they would bring them from the villages. And I don't know. I never met like there were certain potatoes that were like there's a sauce, this yellow sauce that they make in Peru, and yeah, they do make it from a specific potato. But a lot of my friend was from Cusco. And when we were in the market, I was asking him, "What are these potatoes?" And he said, "I have no idea. They come from."
I'd never seen those.
Yeah, they come from this village. I know that. So
And they just hide their recipes.
I suppose so. Yeah.
I don't know if you're like this. I give out. Somebody asks for a recipe, I will give them a recipe.
Oh, for sure. I don't have
I,
recipes at all.
Might not have all the ingredients.
No.
I have books that don't have amounts.
Yeah, I
I have
purposely.
what goes in it, but not.
Yeah, I purposely make sure that there's one of my spices that they can only buy from me in the recipe. That's key.
Marketing.
Marketing.
It's just really good marketing.
Exactly.
And how do you, I mean, I don't know how long you've been in business
Yeah.
with the spices, but it just seems like Calgary's becoming way more open to eating
They
other
are,
foods.
yeah. I started this actually almost 12 years ago now. And
Okay.
sure enough, I actually started in Strathmore. And yeah, it was difficult to get people to try a lot of this food. But I find Calgary, it's becoming it was multicultural then, but now it's a lot more multicultural. And people here are really, I always blame Thai food. Since Thai
Yeah.
food made it to Canada, people tried, curries, and they said, "Oh, this is actually really good." And Thailand became more mainstream, and now they're wanting to explore other cuisines. So you are finding people
Opens the door.
Yeah, exactly. So it's getting a lot better, and yeah,
Well, I used to take my kids when they were still coming up to visit from the States. Now they're big adults with their own families.
Yeah.
But I would take them down to, I think it was Heritage Days in Princess Island
Yeah.
Park. And I would make them eat something from every country that was there.
yeah, it's good to expose them to it.
And they would be like, and I mean, they're hardcore. They live in northern Idaho. They're serious
Yeah.
Americans.
yeah,
And Trump may still be their president. I haven't checked.
who
But
knows?
it was hard to get them to try something. Then after
Yeah.
one or two booths, they were going, that was really good. What else is here?
Okay, cool.
And it was all really, really good.
Yeah, yeah.
And there was the King and I, Thai,
Okay.
when they were still here, they had a booth there. And I'm standing there watching, and they're selling their stuff. And Mom's in the back making spring rolls.
Oh God.
And I said, I want Mom's spring rolls. He goes, no, that's our lunch.
Yeah. No, I want that.
You don't sell those? He said if we sold them at our place, they'd be $40 an order.
Yeah.
And Mom's just shoving all this meat and seafoods and all this great stuff.
See what I tell you, the moms always make the best stuff.
Always. I had a grandmother that was, she made food. She worked around a kitchen in a high school in Wilmington, California. And she made the ugliest, excellent tasting food. All of it was delicious.
Yeah.
But you'd look at it and go, that is not appetizing. Plating, not a high
They're not
point.
worried about plating, right? They're just worried about filling bellies.
Yeah, and I find that in when I'm in other countries, that's it.
Yeah.
How does it taste?
Well, it's that like term peasant food, right? It's always the best food.
Yeah.
Pork belly is a great example. Lots of countries, they wouldn't eat that. But, oh, God, it's the best part.
I sold barbecue pork belly sandwiches one time. I had a guy come back and said they were too fatty.
Oh, no. Send them away.
They're too fatty. Yeah, it's pork belly.
Yeah.
What did you think it was going to be?
Yeah.
Well, you could find it leaner. No, it's pork belly, you moron.
not sure
like,
where.
you don't even know why you're
Maybe
so
a
wrong.
steroid pig who doesn't have fat or something.
Yeah, that's
weird.
right. The roid pig. I was asked if I used free-range pork
Right.
one time.
Yeah.
Grass-fed, free-range. And I said, pigs don't eat
No.
grass. Well, maybe you should read a little.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
So I took him to the butcher, and I said, let's ask him.
Yeah.
I said, do you have any of that grass-fed pork? What are you, a moron? He just started yelling at me.
Yeah, they would.
But I like to go into a shop anytime I'm somewhere and buy something I don't know what it is.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Because, it's kind of like when you go to the Asian market and you see that big, weird fruit. You are curious. You want to try it. So you end up going home with this big, weird fruit, and then you cut it up, and you end up tasting it. It's awful. So you got to go like, what do I do?
It's an acquired taste.
Yeah, what do I do with this thing?
Yeah.
So that's where the fun comes, right? Luckily, now we can just Google it. But
and find out what to do.
exactly, right?
What is the one that's the biggest, ugliest?
Like the stinky one, you mean?
Yeah.
The durian. Yeah, the king of fruits.
The king of fruits.
That's what they call it.
By weight.
Yeah, it's really spiky too. Like that thing could be used as a weapon. The smell, smell and spike. Yeah.
Yeah, the smell is.
smell's
since half
terrible,
of eating is
Yeah.
aroma.
The smell is terrible, but it tastes good. Shockingly, it does taste really good. I promise.
I don't know if I can get past the smell.
The
I
smell's
haven't
tough,
as
yeah.
of yet.
It's like kind of like dirty socks. Yeah, it smells really bad.
Worse than blue cheese because I love blue cheese.
Blue cheese smells good now. Yeah, it's also acquired, I suppose.
It's the only thing you ever put on a steak, and I sell barbecue sauce and
blue
rub.
cheese, yeah.
I don't like any make it really, then throw a big chunk of it, or make a butter with it.
Yeah.
Plenty of flavor in that.
Exactly.
I don't mean to knock the spice. I'm just saying everything else you put a lot of spice on.
Yeah, exactly. You got to put good spice.
I often wonder if when you go into these other countries, are they at all curious about North American food?
Well, of course. They always ask what is Canadian food or what do you eat there? They just assume hamburgers or whatever. And it's always like I've gotten better at saying the answer because I always go, like, what did I grow up eating? Because I don't know. I grew up. I'm not the typical Canadian. My dad hunted and we would eat wild meat and that. But I know some Canadians do this. But Canada's not based on this particular. We're based on multiculturalism. So I try to tell people we eat everything because what is a Canadian? There's so many types of Canadians. We're all from somewhere, right? And we're all eating each other's foods and experimenting. Right. Look at Canadian Chinese food. Okay, you bring this to China, they're not going to say that's Chinese food.
They're not going to eat it. There was a program on, and he's from Nashville. He's Korean.
Okay. Yeah.
And he went to China, and he said the weirdest thing was he found out that not everybody, even in Nashville, got the same menu at a Chinese restaurant.
Yeah.
And I discovered that because somebody I was working with was from Vietnam, and she took me for lunch one time.
Right.
We didn't get menus.
Yeah.
She just ordered, they made it, brought it out. And I was like, I don't know what this is, but it's
It
delicious.
was probably delicious, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
beyond delicious.
They're going to give you what's fresh, right? And what's the day. And that's,
Yeah.
you're going to get the best food that way. If you order that stuff off the menu, I don't know.
Well, and somebody would say, I do the arrabbiata, and it's, the spicy sauce, but I can only make it so spicy here.
Yeah, right.
And somebody asked me, how spicy is this spicy sauce? And she looked over and went, white guy spicy.
Yeah, they always say that, right?
Yeah.
White spicy.
That's white guy spicy. You can't even taste it. It's
Yeah. I always make the mistake every time I go to a restaurant, like a Thai restaurant, I'll say, I want Thai spicy. I want Vietnamese spicy. And I think that I'm man enough, and I soon discover no. No matter how much I've traveled, it really kicks my ass sometimes.
she would bring me the subs
Yeah.
loaded
Yeah.
with just straight red peppers.
Oh, yeah. And not pickled ones either. They're just
Nope.
like sliced red pepper.
There you go, buddy. Wait till tomorrow.
Yeah.
You got a surprise coming.
I could eat a jalapeno. I could eat this. No.
Yeah, pickled jalapeno.
Yeah.
Exactly the same.
It's exactly the same.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about. I always wonder that if they want to know what we eat.
They do, yeah. Because it is this weird unknown about North America. Because everywhere has their stereotype, right? So like
Yeah.
I said, they always think like, oh, you guys eat lots of steak and hamburgers or something, which there's
We
no
do.
denying it. We do. And I always say that, like, yeah, okay, when I'm a North American, when I travel, the one thing I do kind of crave is a hamburger here and there. There's no point in hiding it. I do. But, yeah, they do. They ask all the time, like, what do you eat at home, though? And I say, eat everything. Like, I'll go out for Indian one night or Vietnamese or there's no particular Canadian. And I always think that about when my friends come to visit here after I visited them in their countries. I always go, where can I take them that's Canadian? And it's a tough one. And for me...
Husky truck stop.
Yeah, like that's the most Canadian thing.
Yeah.
I always think smoked meat. I find that is
Montreal smoked
really...
meat.
Yeah, it's a really North American thing.
But it's even regional in Canada.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And then you just said Montreal smoked meat. That's...
Montreal smoked meat, seafood on both coasts.
Yeah, exactly.
And anything that we can shoot in between.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'd love to tell my friends we'll go out for wild meat. You can eat elk and bison and caribou, but where are you going to get this stuff, right? You actually have to go hunt, and I'm not about to hunt before they show up.
No, you know what? I've got a one particular customer that is a hunter. He's he hasn't hunted as much recently,
Right.
But he would bring me like moose and elk and venison sausages, and he was all about grind it up and make it unbelievably good.
Okay, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, but that is pretty European too, though.
Make it into a sausage. That's European.
I'll tell you, you know what? The dinner you need to go to. I went in Drumheller.
Yeah.
I was performing for them, and it was Drumheller Fish and Game.
Okay, yeah.
Which in the United States is a government agency that writes you tickets.
Right.
Because almost every government agency there does. But here, it was a group of people that love to hunt and fish.
Right.
And they had a buffet dinner, and all of the hunters and fishermen donated food.
Okay, so you
To
had
be
quite the
cooked.
assortment.
Yeah, I mean, there was bear, wild boar, elk, moose. There was salamis they had made. It was just like, I went on stage and I said, I have never been this full on stage.
You ate the whole rainbow of the animal kingdom.
Oh yeah, everything God put on earth for us to eat. Personal opinion.
Yeah.
No callers, no writers.
Exactly.
Yeah, which, by the way, I have to cover this. Somebody asked me the other day, I watched
Yeah.
your podcast, why do you slouch?
Yeah.
Well, I broke my back in 1981. Leave me alone.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm comfy.
Such if I want to, man.
It's our podcast. We'll do what we want.
Exactly. It's really chill.
It shouldn't be any rules. It was the same thing with the hair. Like, I haven't cut my hair in a long time.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And you know what? I didn't start cutting my hair until I got on TV and they made me.
Okay. So now you're like a white girl. You're free.
Yeah, I'm going for the Farrah Fawcett.
Yeah, exactly.
You can see the curl. You can see it in there.
The next thing you're going to join me on one of my trips, sit on the front of the boat with your arms out.
Yes, in a one piece.
Yeah. Oh, I wouldn't mind.
No, you don't. Nobody wants that mental picture.
Exactly.
I apologize to everyone for putting that out there. So other than food, one of the
Right.
one of the things when it's hilarious to me, we used to when we went to Mexico. I mean, I grew up in California. I speak hideous Spanglish.
Okay.
That's why the Portuguese I'm not getting at all.
Yeah, right. Portuguese is weird, though. Like, it's a weird one.
It's a different language. It's sing-songy.
It is. It's sing-songy.
Juan John Augusto,
Yeah.
who runs the show here, he speaks Portuguese because he's from Brazil, which I didn't know because I was educated in California. And, well, they don't tell you. They don't.
They speak Brazilian.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, world history.
Yeah.
America saved Europe. That's our world history.
Yeah. You guys came guns
And there's
blazing.
music.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, and it's when I go to other countries, I want to speak whatever bit of language I can
Yeah.
to try to pick it up.
Yeah.
And when you go to Mexico, the problem is when you speak English, they want to practice their English with you.
Yeah.
They have no interest in speaking Spanish to you. And we were in Italy one time, and I had a international phone, and I had to reload the card.
Right.
And this poor girl spoke next to zero English. And between crappy Spanglish and bad English and Italian and what I had picked up since I've been there, we got it done. And this is amazing to me. At the end of it, she apologized for not speaking better English.
Oh, God.
And I said, it's okay. We're in fucking Italy.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
That's the American way right
I
there.
would be the ignorant one on this one.
Yeah.
But
But that's worldwide, honestly. Like every country I've been in, I also, I'll try to speak some of the language. But as soon as they find out you're a native English speaker, they love to speak English to you. Because
Yeah.
it's all around the world, people want to know English, right? It's not just Hollywood and that, but it's such a global language. So it makes it difficult trying to speak.
yeah,
other
but see,
languages.
here's my theory, and this I shared this that it would be easier for the rest of the world to learn English than teach 5 Americans a foreign language,
Yeah, probably. Even if it's Spanish.
even if it's Spanish. Which, by the way, Mexico owned California.
Yeah.
Which
There's
was
a lot of Spanish in that country, yeah.
yes. Yeah, that I watch KTLA in the mornings, and this morning they were on a, I guess you would call it a reserve,
Right.
and it was one of the original tribes of Native North Americans that were living there, and they had taken the land back over because it was unfortunately acquired by
Of course. Yeah.
white guys, and so they had rebuilt this entire park to exactly what it would have looked like in whatever, and it's just so funny watching the lady that was talking. She said, and now I found out that this area was known as blah, blah, which meant deer forest. And we have seen deer here. So it was very accurate. I just thought, you don't even know how stupid you look.
It's like a museum, right?
Yeah, it's a museum.
Essentially.
But by the same token, everybody's crying about
Right.
the oil sands up north here. And
Yeah.
when I was a kid in school, we went to the La Brea tar pits
Yeah.
as school outings.
Yeah, it's a big old cycle, right?
Yeah, it is. Which you drop a match in that baby, there's no more tours.
Yeah.
That'll end quickly.
Maybe a different kind of tourism.
Yeah. I guess, one of the things I wanted to know, because like I say, some of the languages, everybody says that the Romance languages are very, very similar.
Yeah.
I can't get my head around French at all. I just
Yeah.
zero.
I've never tried, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, surprisingly, I grew up in this country.
We were in Montreal one time, and I could have swore I was ordering chicken stuffed ravioli.
Yeah.
And she kept going, yes. And I kept going, yes. And she brought me a full chicken stuffed with ravioli. And
Oh,
I thought, now you're just being a bitch.
You know what you did.
You knew exactly what I was saying.
Yeah.
But, or you go there and you can't, you have to order a grande
Yeah, right.
cafe, not a grande.
Yeah.
and they'll look at you like they don't understand what you mean.
Yeah.
You know, you're at a Starbucks, goddammit. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's the word. So out of all the languages, did you hit one where you just went, oh, man, never?
Yeah, like I've learned quite a bit of certain languages. So like Spanish, I do speak quite well. And then Arabic, I got a grasp on and I really love the language. Then I tried to do Mandarin, and Mandarin is extraordinarily difficult.
I heard it was the easiest out of them.
Mandarin, it was really tonal. So it was really easy to make mistakes, and the way the language is structured, just it made no sense. In the beginning, it's okay, but then the more you go, and then the reading and writing, they have like 50,000 some characters just to read a newspaper. So yeah, Mandarin's difficult, but I do love it.
So if you ever thought you were smarter, than the people in China,
exactly, yeah,
not so much.
But it's like really...
We have 26 letters.
Yeah.
And we can't do that without spell check.
We're still struggling.
Yeah.
But I really like... I'm still trying to learn some Mandarin. It's a really fun language. So, but yeah, it was an out there one.
I always thought, and this was my theory of taking the kids around to eat food from every culture that we could, that there would be far less racism if you ate dinner with them.
I suppose.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, even in the south of the U.S., if you ever went for like a real down-home Southern dinner, and had it in a large Baptist black family's house, you would love them.
Yeah, exactly. It breaks barriers, right?
Oh,
if food brings people together, I'll always say that.
And you got to be the best cook on the block down there too.
Yeah.
But, you know, honestly, like you go to Texas, you can get better barbecue from a grocery store.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like in Texas, you'll find barbecue places out in the small towns are the most famous. And people don't really tell you where they are because they don't want you to go there.
They don't want it to be crowded.
But it's so easy to find them because you drive through these towns and you see the lines.
Yeah.
And it's just people lined up at some crappy shack. And, you know, in there, there'll be people who have been smoking meat for 40 odd years.
Yeah.
It's really amazing.
Yeah, and they have come up with amazing ways to make that much smoked meat.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, it looks like kilns.
Yeah, it's always some like old grandma back there too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a place in Austin called Stubbs Barbecue.
Yeah.
He's selling sauce now everywhere.
Yeah.
But I went with a guy that was a local comedian. It was Sunday night, so it was jam night.
Yeah.
And we go in there, and literally his pit is as big as 3 of these tables.
Yeah.
And he had mops.
Yeah, for the whole hog, right?
In garbage cans, like actual floor mops.
Yeah.
And the garbage cans were full of mopping sauce.
Yeah. Amazing.
And I got to go in the back and cook. It was like the best thing ever.
Yeah. That would be incredible.
And the food was just, it always seems dry here. And
it does.
There's a knack to making it really, really good.
Yeah. And it's getting better, though. Like, you're starting to see more smokehouses open up here, and you get a good brisket now.
Yeah, you got to get it just right, though.
It is, yeah.
If it's not juicy, I'll just sit and eat burnt ends all day.
Yeah.
That's the thing for me.
Yeah.
I don't want any bread. I don't want any, don't give me
I like the cornbread. I'm a big fan.
I like the cornbread too, but you can have cornbread at another time.
Yeah, that's true.
Sometimes it's like going to a Brazilian meat place.
Yeah.
You know, you got a salad. I went with a guy and he got a salad. Like,
no, what are you doing here? Get out of
you
here.
got a salad at a Brazilian meat? Like,
yeah.
No, you don't get it. They're going to bring all the meat you ever want.
Yeah.
You know, you'll be sweating for 20 hours.
Yeah. Brazilian barbecue's funny, though. When I was in Rio the one time, they brought me, like, incredible meat. And I was really enjoying it. And then they brought me these little skewers of chicken hearts. And I was like, what's this? And they went nuts for it. Everyone was telling me, this is the best part of the barbecue. And I tried them, and yeah, they were absolutely phenomenal. But I just thought it was so weird because they had so much delicious big pieces of meat and then little chicken hearts.
Oh, I mean, my mom was from Texas.
Yeah.
And she made chicken hearts, gizzards.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if you can buy them anymore.
Oddly enough, I found in Sobeys a section where they sell chicken hearts. And since I went to Brazil, I started doing like Japanese style yakitori chicken hearts.
That'd be good.
It's really good. I put like a little base on them and then cook them over wood. And so, yeah, they're good.
They're really, really good. And the chicken doesn't know it.
No, doesn't have to.
Not a clue. I wonder if people just think that that's the life of the chicken that you're...
I hope so, yeah.
The neck. You took the life at the neck.
Yeah, yeah. You got to eat their heart like in kind of Indiana Jones kind of thing.
Yes. Chicken hearts.
Golly ma.
Chicken feet. I'm not big on the chicken feet. It's a little gelatinous.
Yeah, like it tastes all right, but you're not getting a lot of meat out of them. That's my big thing.
No.
I had one time in China, I was
Yeah.
on a bus, and this guy beside me, he asked if he could sit with me, and sure, come sit with me. And he pulled chicken feet out in a plastic bag, but it's like sealed. And he bought it at like a gas station or something. Yeah, and the color of the chicken's foot was like really scary, like so pale. Anyway, he opened up the chicken foot and he's eating it, and then he offered me some of his chicken foot. So I said no. But anyways, he then took the chicken foot in his mouth.
It's the eating.
Yeah, he bit the toenail off and then went and spit it on the floor in front of me. It was needless to say a little terrifying. But I did then try the gas station chicken foot afterwards, and I'm going to be honest, it wasn't great, but the experience was the best part.
and at the very least made a good story for here.
Exactly, right? Yeah, it came for something. Yeah.
You would think that let's say somebody came from Germany and went and bought hot dogs at a grocery store here, they would be disgusted.
Well, probably, yeah.
You would think.
You would think, but I don't know. Maybe they have hot dogs in Germany, good ones.
The Frankfurters that are totally different.
Exactly.
That big snap when you bite into them.
Yeah.
They're amazing. I love hot dogs.
Yeah, it's one of the things I do miss while I'm traveling. But, there's a lot of countries that are famous for hot dogs you would never guess. So, like Iceland. Iceland is renowned for hot dogs. And I don't know, they're not like phenomenal or anything, but when you're there, they're the best damn hot dog you've ever had. And they put these weird things called crunions in them, which is essentially just a fried onion. But then they put this curry sauce, and I had no idea how this happened, how Iceland became known.
How did they get curry sauce? That's an oddity.
But just how did they get hot dogs? Like, it's an island of just fish. Everything's dried fish, right? Herring, cod, and
yeah.
But then also, no, they're well known for their hot dogs. So
I watched a cooking show from there, and they're out in what looks like tundra.
Yeah.
And they're picking these berries, and they're getting like 3 from every bush. And I'm thinking, my God, you're going to starve to death.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm sure you can go to a store and buy them by the bag.
Nowadays, yeah. It's a weird country. Like, some people still like cook bread underground in this like volcanic mud. It's not mud, but like dirt. And they actually cook bread this way still. Not everywhere, obviously.
Is it in something or?
Yeah, it's like in a little like underground oven, per
like
se.
Like a clay.
Yeah, but the bread's really dense. And then they also, this country, they hang Greenlandic sharks, because if you eat a Greenlandic shark, it's poisonous, right? But if you hang it for like, I think it's like 18 months or something in this shed, it then becomes edible. You can eat this thing. And the smell, it's god-awful. It's called like hakarl. And they put this rotten shark with a drink called Black Death. It just gets weirder, right? And
so at the autopsy, could have been either one.
Yeah, you don't know what it is.
Either one of them got him.
I did try this, and yeah, it was not great. I'm not gonna lie.
So in a weird way, my first thought was about the food, of course, because we do like to talk about food. But
right.
How are the, like, compared to what we're doing here, how are the COVID restrictions in the other countries?
Yeah, surprisingly enough, Canada by far has the strictest COVID restrictions. When we left Canada, there's not a lot of restrictions going on. And even in Europe, the most we saw is when we were in Greece, at one point, we were going in the National Museum, and they asked to see proof of vaccination. And that was kind of it. Every once in a while, you'd get a shop owner who would say, hey, could you put your mask on? And then when you get to the Middle East, it completely disappears. There's none of that. But and a few countries ask for PCR tests on arrival. Or, for example, in Lebanon, you had to do a PCR test in the airport, but it was free of charge. So.
Well, you know what? I've been wondering about that. I got a friend from the building I live in. He's going to Mexico, and they just gave him a list of places he could get tested. And I thought, if you're a smart resort, you just make it inclusive.
Yeah, and I think lots of them probably are now, because when I was traveling, a lot of hotels were offering PCR tests, and they were actually like not expensive. So there's this rumor going around that, if you decide to travel right now, get ready to pay hundreds of dollars into PCR tests. That's not the case.
Well, right now, only between the U.S. and Canada.
Yeah, exactly.
And you got to pay to come back, not to go there.
Yeah. Yeah, that was coming home. I had to get a PCR test, even though I'm vaccinated. So that was a little strange.
And they give a big range. Like, it'll cost you between $100 and $300.
Yeah. Surprisingly enough, mine was $20.
Really?
Yeah, I got my PCR test in Istanbul to come home. So, yeah.
Is it like a covered thing for their healthcare?
No, most countries it was like you could see depending on which lab you go to, and you do have to go to specific ones if you're going to travel internationally. You got to make sure you get this like QR code. Right. But most of the PCR tests range from $20 to $100 depending on where you go. So there was like obviously in Amsterdam there wasn't a lot of cheap options, but I did see one I think for maybe €80. So, but that's why we chose to get ours in Istanbul. It was cheaper.
So, you know what you should do? You should write how to travel cheaper.
Oh, yeah. If you go on my blog, you'll see that. A lot of that.
A lot of that.
Yeah, because basically my whole life before I was a travel blogger was how to be a cheap-ass broke backpacker. So
without the college education.
Exactly, yeah.
Or trying to avoid it.
Yeah.
Do you have a college education?
I don't. After high school, I moved to Thailand. I was teaching scuba diving. So I have a formal education in scuba diving. And then after that, I came home, worked, traveled, and then I eventually got a job as an ESL teacher in Libya. And I taught English in North Africa, and that didn't last too long because Libya's a little bit of a war zone. So I stayed.
Bit of an issue there.
A bit of an issue. I did last 8 months there, so it was long enough. But then after that, I was doing the spices part-time. Every time I come back to Canada, I'd bring new spices, and it would help fund some of my travels. And then I opened up this shop here at Crossroads Market, and now I'm your neighbor. So
you're stuck.
Stuck forever.
Stuck with me.
Yeah.
You were even away when I wasn't open.
Yeah, exactly.
You missed that.
I did miss the
week
whole
and a half.
Jebb being. I heard about it though. It was the celebrity in the market was gone. So.
Oh yeah, it was. I've had more fun.
Yeah.
In my life. And the medical system is great here. I would never knock it.
Yeah, exactly, right? You got that all for free, so.
I almost put something on my Facebook today because somebody, when it started out about carbon taxes and who had the most carbon going out there.
Yeah.
And, I'll start something and then I'll get tired of playing with people and just get off of it. And some guy went from there to his anti-masking thing to go with the carbon tax. I don't know how he got
It's
through.
the Facebook hole. Everybody, it just spirals and takes you all over the place.
Yeah, and one guy, if we don't watch out, we're going to be a socialist country. I got some bad news for you, cowboy. Yeah. And I was going to write on there, what social program would you be willing to give up to make Canada less socialist? Yeah. Medical? Yeah. Would you give up your medical?
Would you give up the medicine? Yeah.
Why not? Why wouldn't you give that up?
Yeah,
helping feed people, would you give that one up?
Shocker.
Education?
Yeah.
And really, compared to some countries in Europe, we're not even close to being socialist.
No, you compare us to Scandinavia, not quite. But we're somewhere in between. And
what do you work, 8 days a year in Scandinavia?
Yeah, you must.
And a free education, 8 days a year, and not in a row.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
No post-secondary for free.
Yeah. No, surprisingly enough, I actually did a radio host in Iraq when I was in Baghdad. And when I was on the air with there was a young girl, a college girl there, and we were talking about education and the benefits of education within Canada. And she said to me, "Oh, I think education in Canada is better, right?" I said, "Do you mean post-secondary?" "Yeah," she said, "post-secondary." And I said, "Well, in a lot of ways it isn't." She said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, it's not free. We have to pay for it, and it's grossly expensive in this country."
Yeah.
And I said, "Is education free in Iraq?"
North America in general, but
Yeah.
in
And
Iraq?
I said, "Is it free in Iraq?" She said, "Yeah, it is free in Iraq. I have a degree and it was free." And I said, "Well, there you go. I guess Iraq's not so bad." And she said, "Well, I can't take this, though. I can't leave this country with this education." And I actually got mad at her on air. I said, why is it all about leaving your country? Don't you want to help your country? Especially a country like Iraq. I felt like it was quite offensive to hear that. And yeah. Anyways.
How do I get out of here?
Yeah. It just
But no matter
where
where you get your education, if you become a doctor,
Right.
I mean, I had a doctor that was trained in South Africa, and then he moved to the UK, and he had to requalify in the UK.
Yeah.
And then when he came here, I found it odd he had to requalify here.
Yeah, from the UK.
From the UK,
That's
you would have
surprising.
thought that would have.
Yeah, I thought we would have some agreement with them by now.
Maybe they haven't gotten over it.
No, must be Brexit.
Yeah, well, you know what? I got a first ex-wife that's not over it yet
Yeah.
either.
Exactly.
So, and you know what? I can say that because I'm pretty sure she's not watching.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe tonight she is.
She might, and then she'll just go, "Told you.
Yeah, told you so.
I've been telling you for 30 years he was a dick."
Yeah.
There it is. Now, did you record that?
Yeah.
No, it's on the internet. No, did you record it though?
Yeah.
I'm not saying nothing, but she lives in Idaho too.
Okay.
I graduated high school there.
Okay. Yeah. And you were saying, was it Sandpoint or
No, Coeur d'Alene.
Coeur d'Alene? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I used to live kind of nearby. Yeah, Creston.
What?
Creston. Yeah.
Creston, BC.
Yeah, I lived in Creston, BC for 6 years.
Oh, I know a guy from Creston that used to be in the import-export business.
Okay. Yeah, I used to drive to
Then
Coeur
they made it
d'Alene.
legal.
Okay. Yeah, that's
And
this kind.
everybody's growing dope in the mountains.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But yeah, I used to drive to Coeur d'Alene all the time. I'd go to the Walmart there, see all the camouflage, lots of camouflage.
You know, I was in a Winners
Yeah.
in Coeur d'Alene, and there was a guy carrying
Yeah.
a pistol on his hip. And I said, "Oh, is this an open carry state?" And he goes, "Yeah, what of it?" And I said, "Just curious, not trying to start a fight, buddy."
Yeah.
And he goes, "Yeah, it's an open carry state." I said, "Oh." I said, "Can I ask you why you're carrying a handgun?"
Yeah.
He said, "One day I'm going to be out here and somebody's going to rob a place like this and I'm going to kill him." And I said, "You know, the actual fact is that most people that own handguns are killed by their own handguns."
Yeah, exactly.
So the difference is the other guy is willing to kill you.
Yeah.
You just think you're willing to kill him.
Yeah.
But it would take big, giant cojones.
But that guy might
Part
just...
of my Spanish. Big, giant cojones to shoot a stranger.
Yeah. Well, and that stranger, he might just walk into the Walmart and buy like the AK-47 that's in there. So I don't know how good your handgun will do then, because this is America, right?
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you got 6 shots.
Yeah.
I'll be over here. When I quit hearing the pop, 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 I'll
Yeah,
be with
exactly. It was terrifying, though. As a Canadian, I would drive across the border, and we'd go to the hunting shops, of course, just because we wanted to see it.
Yeah.
And yeah, we were seeing guns that we, use in video games.
That's the most Canadian thing you've said
Yeah,
so far.
exactly. Yeah.
And they were like real.
Yeah. But it's funny because obviously I travel a lot, but a lot of people say, "Oh, like Iraq. When you were in Iraq, was it pretty scary?" And I'm like, "Have you been to the States? Everyone carries a gun there."
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, that's one for me.
Well, yeah, in Iraq, they're walking around holding them in the open.
Yeah. Yeah. No one's carrying guns in Iraq. Honestly, yeah, it's like it's really good. But in the States, you do see it. You see it all the time, right?
Yep.
So, I have been to countries, obviously, where they do carry guns. Like when I was in Libya, it's second nature. Everybody has a gun there, so everybody's carrying one.
To what end? I mean, are they worried about getting robbed? Are they?
Well, Libya was a special situation. So after Gaddafi, their dictator, after he died, NATO killed them. Well, I guess their people would have. But anyways, after that happened, the country didn't have any formal government. And while I was there were multiple people claiming to be the president of Libya. So you didn't have any rule. And with that, you don't really have any police. You just have local kind of gangs controlling each area and protecting the area, which...
Oh, it's like L.A.
It's like L.A., yeah.
Roughly.
Yeah. And would you call L.A. safe? Probably not. I don't know.
No, you know what? I think I was blissfully unaware of how dangerous it was.
Right, yeah.
And in America in total until I moved to Canada.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I still have guns. I mean, they're not with me.
Right. Yeah.
They're with my kids now, and they're heirlooms.
Yeah.
And I never thought about it. I had a Canadian comic with me one time, and I went to my dad's house, and he had bought a new handgun.
Oh, okay.
And he's showing it to me. I'm looking at it without thinking. I mean, you know, you get the gun, you make sure it's empty. Mm-hmm. Without thinking about it, I handed it to this Canadian comic, and he's standing there like this.
What is this?
Holding it. And I go, "Are you okay?" And he goes, "It's really heavy."
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's made out of metal.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
And I said, "Can I have that back?" Because I just thought, he was petrified to hold it.
Yeah, yeah. It's alien to us. It really is.
But in America, I don't think I knew anybody that didn't own a gun or
knew how to shoot
certainly
it, yeah.
had never. Everyone had held one.
Yeah. Well, like Chelsea, when she was traveling with me a couple trips ago, she got to shoot her first gun, and it was in Yemen, and she fired an AK-47, and I have
big a smile.
Yeah, I have this really funny photo of her. There's a Yemeni guy in all camouflage, and he's plugging her ears as she holds the gun and is firing the gun.
With her eyes closed?
Pretty much it.
Pretty much, yeah. No, you got to watch.
The first time she fired it, she watched the casing go down. She's like, what is that?
My apologies totally on this one, Chelsea. Scroll.
Yeah. Exactly.
You got to kind of keep this is how people get hurt. You got to keep your eye on it.
Keep an eye on it, yeah. Especially with that one.
The guy at the gun range that can't talk to you without pointing facing
turning
you with
the gun. Yeah.
They are pretty dangerous.
Yeah, they're incredibly dangerous, right?
It always amazes me that everybody, it's my right to own a weapon. Yes, it is, but you don't have to own a weapon that can shoot 60 rounds in a minute.
No, exactly. And like, don't get me wrong.
That's not a hunting weapon.
At that point, what are you hunting?
You're only allowed to kill one deer at a time.
You're as much as a hunter as the predator is at that point.
Yes, exactly. And you know what? If you unload a clip on a deer, you have no dinner.
No, I don't even know if it's sport then. The deer didn't even have a chance at that point.
They kind of do and kind of don't anyway when you're hunting because, you know, you're in a blind and you're knocking antlers together to call them in, thinking, well, if I beat this guy, I'm getting laid.
Yeah.
And they're on their way thinking they got this rich reward, and we're sending them off to 72 virgins.
Yeah. But don't get me wrong, like I like guns. I like shooting guns. You know, as a Canadian, I didn't have all these like machine guns and that. So when I travel, I love shooting guns. I just don't want guns in the hands of other people.
Well, I think we have to be a little more careful about who gets them.
Exactly.
But the problem is the people that you don't want to have them aren't getting them legally.
No, of course not.
That's where everybody misses the point. That this is it's a giant underground. Even in the U.S., it's all underground because they don't want to be traced.
I suppose, you scratch the serial code off and...
Yeah, you actually have to scratch it, then use acid on it because it goes pretty deep.
See, now that's the most American thing you've said. How to make a gun illegal.
Fix a gun up. Yeah, I know how to remove the plug to get 5 shots into a regular shotgun, too.
Yeah.
Well, because when you're hunting birds, sometimes...
birds, of course,
I don't think I could shoot. I could shoot a person if they came in my house and endangered my family.
Okay.
Other than that...
But, like, my mom says that, too. Everybody says that.
Yeah, I kind of think I could do it.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I've shot guns enough, and so have you, right? Like, you would know what to do.
Yeah, no, I've shot a lot of guns
And it's a motor reaction.
Yeah.
But, I won't shoot them 60 times.
No. Yeah.
That's how, you remember the old days that you got in a fight at a bar, and once you were down on the ground and pretty well knocked out, the fight was over?
Yeah.
Yeah, not anymore.
No, these days it's a lot more sketchy.
Kind of gets geared up then.
Yeah, a lot more goes on afterwards.
Yeah, that was my dad saying.
Yeah.
Get the other guy on the ground. That's when the fight starts for you. You're a little guy. How do I get him on the ground? Doesn't matter. Get him on the ground.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, America is a weird place. I often think that Canada really isn't appreciated for all that it is.
Right. Yeah.
And I love that everybody hates Trudeau, but if you think Trudeau's actually running the country, you're out of your mind. They're not, the
There's
powers,
a little bit more to it than that.
yeah,
right?
the powers to be are not turning it over to a substitute drama teacher that wore blackface. Like, how could you be, even at that time,
Yeah.
he should have known enough about politics that it would soil his family name to do that.
His dad was a politician, so yeah.
Yeah, I heard that. It was before I got here.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I actually got asked to run for mayor.
Okay. Here in Calgary?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, they're not going to move me to another town.
Well, I don't know. Maybe in the States somewhere?
No, nobody wants me down there either.
We were stuck with you.
But I literally told him, I said, as soon as you vet me, I will be unelectable.
Yeah.
And I was talking to somebody about it this weekend, and she goes, everybody in town knows about your history, okay?
Yeah.
There's no secret, buddy. Yeah. And there was a reason Ralph Klein was in power for that long.
I think you'd make a great mayor, though.
I'd be, you know what, I think I might have been at one point in my life smart enough. I might have killed some of that off. But I don't think I'm qualified. But the problem is nobody that ends up as mayor is qualified.
But if our prime minister was a drama teacher, then how are you not qualified?
You know what? Here's what I think about Trudeau. I don't care if he was a drama teacher, but when he does his press conference, be more dramatic. Like, you know what I mean? The COVID violence.
Yeah.
It's killing us all. Like, really,
Make us believe it, please.
Yeah, live it. Live it. Own it.
Yeah.
If you're going to make
If you're out there, Trudeau, own it.
Yeah, don't be out there going, shots would be a good idea.
Yeah.
That would be, I'm thinking shots. From what they tell, shots, right? Shots? Yeah, shots. They're telling me shots. I love the people that are petrified of the shot.
Yeah. As if they haven't had a vaccine.
Is that going on in other countries when you travel? Are people afraid to get it?
Honestly, the anti-vaxxer thing, this is happening in other countries. In every country I travel to, there was a conversation to be had about it. There was a percentage of the population that didn't want to get vaccinated. But in general, when we were traveling, people were so far past COVID already that they just didn't talk about it. Not like here, where in Canada, people still are really talking about it. So it was kind of a nice break, to be honest.
Isn't that sad, though? But what were the percentages? I know it was really funny because I am a really logical person. And somebody was talking about Italy, and they said, all these countries like Italy, I'm sure Brazil is the same, and a lot of the countries you went to, they're saying there's so many people are dying of this. And you know what? Because they're old people aren't in old folks' homes.
Right, yeah.
They're at home.
Yeah. Well, and there's simple things like air quality is an issue in a lot of countries. And when you get pollution plus you have COVID, you're going to have a lot more people dying, right?
Bigger issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, India, when I was in India, it was like, wow. I grew up in Southern California. We had pollution, but
not like India, no.
This is stunning.
Yeah. But I had, when I was in Baghdad, I remember I asked my friend Ali, I said, like on this topic, I said, why aren't you guys talking more about COVID? Like in Canada, that seems to be you turn on the TV and it's just COVID. And he looked at me and he went, this is Iraq. We have bigger problems.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it gives you a perspective.
Exactly, right? Yeah. I think we just have nothing to worry about, so this is why our media is just covering it.
Well, compared to worldwide.
Exactly, right? There's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now. So
yeah, but we've almost stopped caring about what's going on in other 100%. Countries.
There's like a bubble now, and when I tell people in the past before COVID, I would say, "Oh, hey, I just came back from Afghanistan." People would be shocked. "Oh, really? What did you see there? How was it? You know, this time when I've come back, I say, oh, I went to Iraq. Oh, okay. So have you got the third vaccine? People, they're
totally
just trapped in this bubble. And I've really noticed that people, they're so caught up in it and with the politics and all that goes along with it. So
I don't, you know what, I have my doubts as to how interested pharmaceutical companies are about us not being afraid.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, I'm triple vaxxed, but you know, I'm also 63 and I, you know, I had it once, and since then my lungs haven't worked as well. Although, you know, I found 16 days on a wicked regime of antibiotics for my little jaw issue.
Yeah,
really,
exactly.
like my lungs seem to be working better.
Yeah, cleared it up, right?
Cleared it right up. You're missing the bonus of oral surgery.
Yeah, exactly.
And not been looking like you've had a stroke. That's always turn to one side. But you know what? If people are out there, and I think we'll kind of close with this, but if people are out there and they're afraid to travel, I know a lot of people are petrified.
They are, yeah.
I know people that are still afraid to go to the grocery store here. What would you tell people about going to other countries?
Yeah, get out there, go. You know, right now it's kind of an important time to start traveling. Like, ask me a year ago, no, I wouldn't have said this, but now most of the world and a lot of the world is either vaccinated or they need travel. Okay, our economies are really hurting, especially in a lot of countries like the ones we went to this trip. When we were in Greece, when we went to Georgia, Turkey, Iraq, a lot of the economy is based off of tourism, and they're ready for you to come. They've set up measures to make sure safety is first. And you know what? We can't keep living like this. We can't keep living in this bubble where we don't travel, you know?
Right.
So I would really strongly encourage, regardless of your situation, to, if you're able to travel, get out there, start planning, make a trip. Even if it's just an easy trip, you know, go to Vancouver, do something, and then make that a stepping stone to getting back out there. Because even for me, for someone who does travel for a living, it was really weird getting back on a plane, you know, almost after a year and a half of not flying. And there's a lot of new things to it. And they do try to kind of scare you with you're going to have to get all these PCR tests. And I was nervous about it. And even myself, I was thinking, I don't want to go through all that. I am so happy I did. And I'm planning my next trip already. And it was so great to see in these countries them saying, welcome back. So 100% I would encourage out there, if you're listening, go out there and travel.
Watching. And let's mention where they can find you on the internet again.
Yeah, again, it's Uncharted Backpacker, so it's unchartedbackpacker.com if you want the website. If you want to reach out to me, if you want travel tips at all, and especially in this time of COVID, yeah, please reach out on me on Instagram, which is Uncharted Backpacker, or you can Google my name, Stephen Gollan, or Facebook, if you're still using that. Not TikTok, though. I don't do that.
Yeah, no TikTok.
No TikTok.
And you know what? It occurred to me, we're on Facebook and Instagram at sober.com. And subscribe, like, watch YouTube, listen to Spotify and Apple Podcasts. But if you're watching this right now, you already know that.
Yeah.
This is information for the others, so tell a friend.
Yeah.
And once again, thanks to Liz from the Camera Store for helping us out with the equipment.
Love the Camera Store.
Love the camera. Yeah, I would imagine. And I'm
if you guys want to hook me up, please.
It's not me. You got to talk to the man back there. The Brazilian connection.
The Brazilian connection. We'll have a discussion after,
Yeah, there you go. All right. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.